not just the Beautify Network. It is beautiful, absolutely. Well done. Have we been having fun so far? Fantastic. Okay, so we have been to, I like to tell stories, you know. I know we have a storyteller guru in the house, but I do love to tell stories. And I like to tell us a couple of stories. So a research was done in New York years ago in the 1920s, and the information discovered was staggering. 100 people set out to be successful. They had an erectness to their eyes, a certain courage. And years later, probably 40 years later, 4 of them were financially successful, were just okay. Only one of them was rich, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, when I put that statistic to Nigeria, I found out that we're in dire situation. Only less than 1% of the population earns 1 million and above. Why am I giving you the statistics? Because what made the one person stand out of the 100? Why was just one person out of the 100 people successful? Now, when I've told these stories in different forums, and it's usually, I say it from the Bible of, how as a man thinketh, but I'm cognizant of the forum I am in now. So I'm going to take it from a hunger perspective. Tell your neighbor, you need to be hungry. You're not saying it loud enough. When you're hungry, you know you have to eat. Tell your neighbor, you need to be hungry. You need to be relevant. And then you need to focus. You need to be hungry, relevant, and focused. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about. My story is my story is the story of triumph. I like to look at it that way. I am becoming. I haven't gotten there yet. I am far from it. But here's the interesting part of it. Okay, so I finished university quite early, and I decided to further my studies in UK. And I finished in UK, wanted to further my studies in New York. And I'd done the New York bar, very difficult exam. I was only 20 at the time. Have you done some exams that is excruciating? Talk to me. Have you? This is one of those. Anyway, I finished exams, and I was now looking forward to actually going to the job market. And I started to apply for jobs. I'd like to ask 1 or 2 people. If you've applied for jobs before, please raise up your hand. Okay. Okay, that lady in black. How many jobs have you applied for? You can't count. Give us a number, approximately. 11. What about the lady next? Have you applied for jobs before? How many? More than 50. Just so you know, I applied for 495 jobs. Guess how many interviews I had? Ni point. Not one single interview. I was exhausted. I had no job, broke as can be, in a foreign land. I had my immigration to contend with, and now my future seemed to be dwindling right in front of me. So I decided that I didn't want to be an illegal immigrant. So I begged my mom, please, Mom, I need to go back to UK, and would you help me? And she says, yes. So I went back to UK, I went back to law school. I finished my law school, and then I started again. And history repeated itself. Still no job. I went to do my master's, finished my master's, and the rest is history. But here's one thing. That experience would later help me in life. And so one of the times that when I was in New York, I'd got a brilliant idea, okay. I wanted to buy a house, but I didn't have money. I will tell you what I had in me. I was minus 7,000 pounds in debt. I literally had no money. But yet, I wanted to buy a house. I mean, So I remember I was thinking, well, if I don't have a job, there must be something I could do. So I remember I would go to those buildings, those tall buildings in Canary Wharf, in central London and so on. I would go there, and I would really desire to work there, but I didn't have a job there, so obviously they wouldn't let me in. So sometimes I pretend that, I was working there, so I would dress professionally, bam, bam, bam. And then I get to this gate, and then, ton, 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 ton. You know what the secret is? Excuse me, ma'am, step aside. Because I just desire, and I tried every single thing just to get in the job market. I wasn't making a headway. And then one day, I said to myself, if I cannot walk in this building, one day I'm going to build this building. And so I left and I went back. And I started to desire to buy real estate. I didn't have the money. So naturally, I did whatever little packaging I could do. I applied for a mortgage. Of course, I was turned down. And then I applied for the second mortgage. Of course, I was turned down. And then the third and then fourth. And then one day I remember laughing to myself. I said, these people, they don't know my reputation. We are still going to 400 and what? 400 and what? Tell your neighbor, you have to be hungry. If you have any hope of succeeding in life, listen, your hunger has to be burning. You have to be hungry. I said, by the time I scout this on the entire bank in this country, somebody will say yes. And of course, everybody said no. And then, one day, the very first bank I had applied to, they called me. They were doing a survey. I said, survey. You know, typical Nigerian woman. I abuse the hell out of them. You don't give me anything, you're calling me for survey. And I said, calm down, lady. It ain't that bad, calm down. I said, no. Anyway, I told them the story of what happened. I said, oh, what happened? And said, let's see what we can do. And then they came back with a positive answer. Listen, tell your neighbor, say, I don't understand no. If you must succeed, if you must become, you cannot understand the word no. In my head, I'd worked out that all I needed was just one house. Are you saying to me that the entire bank in this country, none of them will give me a mortgage? That's impossible. And so I didn't understand the word no. I bought this property. And let me tell you something. If you think something is very difficult, starting is the difficult part of it. Once you get in, I'm not saying to you it will be smooth sailing, but then you have amassed yourself a certain pedigree of experience, a certain pedigree of, clout and confidence, and you can walk through things. So the first one was the difficult one. The second one was pretty easy. And then the third, and then the fourth. By the age of 25, I'd amassed a couple of properties, worth a lot of money. So I was becoming, right? And then 25 years old. 2007, 2008 happened. Yes, the economy crashed. The tenants weren't paying, and before I knew what, the true owners came back for their thing. Haven't you seen your neighbors, your friends that will come in a nice Range Rover? It ain't that car. You know that. It's only when there's trouble that you know the true owners of the car. Am I right? Are you feeling me? Talk to me now. So the true owners came, and then the first property they repossessed. It was actually very humiliating. I'm a solicitor, I'm an attorney by training. I'm qualified in UK and US. I am used to questioning people in the dock. I'm used to, and now I was invited to the same forum where I was privileged to walk down, and I was being questioned, except I didn't go. Because what would I say? You don't pay, you know the stakes, you know the property is going to be repossessed, and so it was. So the first one went. I was sucky. I was really sad, and I was, in my own little world, and then the second property went. And then I just thought I had to get over myself. I said, you know what, you're a fighter. I decided to fight, except the fact that I was fighting a losing battle. Anyway, one by one, they came, they took everything. And that experience nearly destroyed me. For years, I won't touch investments. For years, I won't touch real estate. Because all I ever wanted to do, yes, I'm a lawyer by training, but all I wanted to do was investments. At the time, I hadn't put a name to it. All I wanted to do was real estate, buildings. And because I always believe that everybody deserves a decent living, no matter what. Even if I'm going to build a face me, I face you, it will be the best face me, I face you will ever see. That's me. So I wasn't happy about it, and for years and years, I won't touch it. And God was saying to me that, and I said, oh, God, because what happened was that I literally lost. I'd worked for years as a lawyer in England. All the monies I put into the property, I literally lost it, And now I was minus, back to square one. So I didn't have a good experience, and I just kind of let it go, and I wouldn't touch real estate. And time was passing me by. And then, but there was something, that hunger. Tell your neighbor, hunger. I am stressing on hunger because I know that is the one single thing that destroys a lot of us millennials. You're not hungry enough. You are not hungry enough. We're so used to our little superficial life. It's about how many followers, it's about how many likes, it's about how many, your nails, your hair. Am I saying you should not look good? Hey, I'm wearing one. But the truth of the matter is that do not define yourself by that. And then when you come across somebody, and then you wonder why you're not getting ahead. Well, did you see yourself? I mean, literally, when I'm having conversation with people, within 2, 3, 4 minutes, I can figure out what is in their head by the way they communicate with me. What is inside? I don't care about what it is at the outside appearance. I know branding is great. I know marketing is great. But let me tell you something. Those things can't sustain you. If there's nothing, if I peel you like onions, if there's nothing inside, I can tell. Tell your neighbor, be relevant. You need to be relevant. You need to be relevant. It's not about the superficialness. There's time for that. You will pay your $45 a week nails without blinking an eye, like my first speaker said. That will come. All of that will come. Don't eat your dinner as breakfast. And so, for years, I couldn't deal because I'd lost so much. I was torn apart. But then again, I decided that I needed to go back and re-strategize. I went back to the drawing board. I began to learn. I came back home. I got married. My husband wanted us to come back home. We came back home. I found myself in the financial services industry. And I had a tumultuous pregnancy, so I was giving time off work to go have the baby. So I was in Houston at the time, and when I was having the baby, and I'd been on bed for about 6 months prior to then. And anyway, I had the baby. I talked to my boss. So I called the company. I said, no, I'm ready to come back to work. And they say, someone will call me. Anyway, by the time they called me, they said, you know what? You're not coming back to work anymore. We made the decision. That moment, I would say to you, it was saddening because, listen, what do you call it, resignation? Firing, retrenchment, restructuring. I had a job one moment, I didn't have a job next. Anyway, I understood the circumstances, but the truth of the matter, I wasn't working. And that did something in me. Because what had happened was that I realized for 3 years prior, I had allowed somebody to determine my wages, my working hours, everything about me. I had decided, and I had nothing reserved. I had nothing left for me. I'm not saying I didn't save or none of those things, but I had given myself to it that I hadn't bothered to grow myself. See, it doesn't matter what job you have at the moment, okay? Look at it as a job. You need to grow yourself. Because when the stakes come to shove, you're on your own. So when the call came, I just instantly said to it, I said, God, this is the last time I will ever allow anybody to determine my wages for me. I will decide what I want to earn, how I'm going to earn it, whatever I want to do. And I promised myself I would never be in that position. And I went through the fasting and the praying and all of the things I could do. And then I emerged. And then God said something to me. God said, what is in your hands? Use it. And the first thing that came to me, I said, I just lost my job. What do you mean what's in my hands? I don't have anything in my hands. And that was it. Quiet. I didn't hear anything else. And then T.D. Jakes put it quite eloquently. T.D. Jakes said something. He said, God makes wood, man makes furniture. Say with me, God makes wood. I believe that's one of the reasons why Jesus Christ came as a carpenter. Of all the professions he could take, he decided to be what? A carpenter. To show you that you need to build. When God was talking to Noah, what did he say? Build your ark. God didn't build the ark for him. It took him years. Nails must have gone through his hands. It must have been very difficult. An old man building an ark, yes. But he did what? He had to build his ark. Because that was his future. Because that was his destiny. Ladies and a few gentlemen we have, tell your neighbor, build your ark. You need to build your ark. So I knew that I needed to build myself. So I decided I didn't know anything about what I wanted to do, but I started to pray, and then after a while I said, you know what, I've prayed enough. Now I must do. And that's the problem a lot of us Christians are. We just pray, and do nothing. Because you assume that God will provide the wood and build the ark. Listen, are you hesitant about building your ark? Better start building. Because God is very patient. Until you are ready to build your ark, you will remain stagnant. When I started to you see, I left that real estate industry for how many years? Until I decided that it was time for me to build an ark. But I didn't have money. And so, what did I do? I didn't make an excuse about not having money. I started to educate myself. Now, say relevance. I knew I needed to be relevant. In my head, I'd imagine investors approaching me, say, you know what, I have this money, what am I going to do with it? Several times I would come up with a figure of $1 million, and I would spend it. A fictitious $1 million, but I would spend it real. I would do my analysis. I said, you know what, if somebody gave me $1 million, I would tell you, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I did that for years. I don't know your craft. I don't know your experience. But what I do know is that you need to build your ark. Okay? So I would go through so many, I would read books. I'm a lawyer. I have nothing to do with financial industry. But I just started finding out information and so on and so forth. I started trading on the New York Stock Exchange. Self-taught. Trade on the New York Stock Exchange. I trade on whatever exchange there is. I would look at different products. And I started to do it. And then I decided, and then somebody called me, and just out of sheer passion, I'll tell people, I said, you know what, you can't spend all you eat. You can't start encouraging people about finance and money. So you need to save, you need to invest. And then people say to me, invest in what? I say, it's true, invest in what? I say, you can invest in this, you can invest in that, you can invest in that. And one day, just as randomly, I was just talking to somebody about investment. I just didn't know she was listening. She told her husband, the next thing the husband calls me, that, you know what, you're talking about this investment. I said, yeah, well, I do it the little I can, and so on and so forth, you know. And he decided to ask me technical questions. Say, tell your neighbor, say, stay relevant. And as he was asking me the technical questions, I was answering, and the ones I could not answer 100%, I went back to check it. And so we started talking, and the next thing, he sent me a little bit of money. He says, how much will I charge you? I said, I don't know. Anyway, I started to trade. And I just realized that I could actually start doing this, you know, and people would come out, go to me and said, you know what, I do this, I do investments, I do foreign investments, I can do this for you. I said, okay. Where's your office? I'm working from home. Oh, okay. All right, another person, I'm doing this. I said, wait, okay, do you have insurance? I said, well, no, okay. All right, you're doing this. Is it one, how many employees do you have? Okay. Are you a one-man business? Okay. Well, I'm sorry, you live long by Jesus Christ, so, but what if you die? I heard it all. And there was a time, you know, when you heard so much no's, I was about to walk away, but do you know what? Say 495. That magic figure. I still had to go to the 496th person before I knew that, yes, I just started. I didn't say I've ended, I'm just getting started at the 496. If I can survive 495, it's equal to. And so, I remember I was talking, and then I said, you know what? I need to do. So I needed to graduate. I said, you know, I need to go to America. Like all this investing I'm talking about, I need to go and see and do this real estate thing. Build a team. Tell anyone, build your team. After all, I'm not the one that will put the bricks and mortar together now. Huh? I said, I needed to go to America to build a team. Except I didn't know where to go to. You know, America is huge. And plus, I didn't have ticket money then. So I gathered all the miles. I said that it's amazing how things can come. I gathered all the miles. One week ticket. I decided that, you know what, let me do Atlanta. I wanted to meet somebody in Atlanta then. I said that she might be there. I said, okay, fine, let me even do Atlanta. Atlanta is very rich. A lot of Nigerians are there. Let me go to Atlanta. So I called a friend of mine. I said, look, even Uber money I don't have from the airport. So pick me up at the airport. I'm staying in your house, okay? And after then, and I'm eating your food as well, because I ain't got money. So I got in there, and I was talking to people, and that's where the relevance of the past experience came to play. Because all of a sudden, when I meet an investment person or a real estate person or a stockbroker or whatever, when it comes to do with finances, right, I can dissect how relevant you are, whether you know what you're saying. So the first person I profiled, I said, this one doesn't know what he's talking about. So all of them say, oh, I'm a realtor, I can get you this, I can do that, I can do that. This guy doesn't know. When I asked a few questions, he wasn't giving me the answer. So first one, I asked it. Second one, all of them I asked, I said, now wow. So just as I was going to get on the plane, somebody gave me a number of someone. So I called. For 45 minutes, we were on the phone, going back and forth. I said, this is who I need. Then I came back to Nigeria, except I still don't have money. Listen, you must have a 2-minute pitch of yourself, a 1 minute and a 30-second pitch of yourself. You must be able to sell yourself in 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 2 minutes, because you never know who you are talking to. Any opportunity to speak, any opportunity to do something, always put your best foot forward. Don't look at the crowd that they're not good enough. Don't size people up. And we Nigerians, we're so good at sizing people up. Don't do it. Put your best foot forward. And so one day, after months of constantly, and even when people will give you money, they'll say, what can 200,000 naira do? I say, it can buy you a house in Atlanta. 200,000 naira. Can I even buy you a house in Mushi? And you want to do real estate? Anyway. So, I remember I came out of an event one time and I saw this gentleman. And I know him. But he didn't really know me. So I introduced myself to him. I said, oh yeah, I've heard about you, blah, blah. I know your husband. I said, oh yeah, that's him. He said, and the first question he asked me, he says, what do you do? I gave him a 30-second pitch of myself. The next question he says, how come I don't know about you? I said, well, you do now. I signed my first major investor. Now he asked me, he put me together with his team. Trust me, people that are successful, they are not dumb. And they were firing me from left, right, center, and I'll smile and I'll respond. I'll smile, I'll respond. I'll smile and respond. And I was giving it to them. Say, eventually, they decided that they wanted to do something with me. So I already remember I had a team. Now imagine if I never put the team together. I say, okay, don't worry, I'll go and try and find something for you. What is try and find something for you? We don't try and find something for you. We give you what you need. You don't try. You build yourself. Sorry, when was the last time you read a book? You know, people tell you all the time, do what you're passionate about. Listen, I'm not against passion. People tell you all the time, do what you love. Have you tried doing what you hate? I hate reading. Forget the lawyer stuff. But I have to read. You have to do what makes you uncomfortable. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do what you hate to be successful. When you people say, oh, I'm passionate about doing this, so I want to turn my passion into profession, I immediately ask you, you don't understand what you're talking about. Because it's not about you. It's not about I'm passionate about something. No. If you want to be successful, try solving somebody's problem. I will pay you to solve my problem, but I will never pay you to indulge in your hobbies. There's no way I will pay you to indulge in your hobbies. Because you see, when you internalize success, I love to cook, so I became a cook. I love to bake, so I became a baker. I love to sew, so I became a sewer. Remove the I. Find out what the problem is. That's a Jewish wisdom I've given you right there. Let me tell you one of the Jewish wisdoms of success. They find out what the problem is. One, they get themselves equipped and relevant to solve the problem. Two, and guess what? They become passionate about it. You solve somebody's problem, you're passionate, and then people will listen to you. And you have to know that, look, opportunities comes from problems. Why did I start up an investment firm? We are taking money, my husband and I were taking our savings from America, and we came to invest it in Nigeria at 200 naira to the dollar. And we all know very shortly later on, the dollar went to 500 and came back to 360. So we were bleeding on that investment. And I thought to myself, there must be people that are in this situation. People that want to invest, but they don't know what to invest. People that want to invest in foreign instruments, but they have no idea. And so, Moneystewards was birthed. You have to find out what the people's problems are. God, when you pray all day, God will give you wisdom. But guess what? You still have to build your ark. You still have to be the carpenter. Eventually, I signed up the client, and you think things were onkidori, right? There's always one thing. There's always something under the same. The first project went extremely well. Then the second, third, anyway, I kept on going. So I was pregnant last year, and then my husband says I should go to Houston. I really didn't want to go to have the baby outside the country, but because of my history, I had no choice. But I didn't want the particular destination he was mentioning. But anyway, out of obedience, they say we should submit. So I submitted along, and I went to Houston. And of course, one thing is that when anywhere you are, take that opportunity to make your mark. Let them know that Moneystewards came here. Let them know that Mrs. Toyin was here. Let them know that Peju was here. Let them know that Funto was here. Let them know that somebody was here. Make your mark. I got to Houston. I said, so what can we do in this Houston? For 3 months, my belly was this big. I remember the conference in town. What's the conference? Oil and gas conference. Except I didn't have a ticket. Nor could I afford one. So I decided, let's even go to the vicinity. Let's see what's going on there. If we can't enter, we have to go to the vicinity. And those are the kind of things I sometimes do. And sometimes you know what? You think people will laugh at you, and people will laugh at you, and sometimes you don't always have to get it right. But that's life. You suck it in, and you do what you have to do. That's life. I was reading a story of somebody that he was in Chicago. He had nothing. He had $200 to his name. All he wanted to do was meet Oprah and put his book in Oprah's hand. And he drove all the way, disabled as can be. He drove all the way. He went to Oprah Harpo Studios, which is Oprah Studios. And when he got there, nobody would let him in. He went to the first room. They told him to shut up and get out. Second room, shut up and get out. And then he got so tired being shouted at. And then he just decided to take a breath. And in front of him was Oprah and her security guards. And guess what? He walked towards him. Of course, the security guards were there. And he said, please, I just want to hand you my book. I've come all the way from Chicago. Drove thousands of... Gave Oprah his book. And the rest is history. If you think that for one reason God will give you the entire map of your history, it ain't gonna happen. You have to make things happen. You have to what? You have to build your ark. You have to make things happen for yourself. I was in Houston and I was talking to a few realtors, and of course, all of them were talking nonsense. Some of them they tell you call you, they won't call you. There's someone else do this, they do this. Anyway, I finally met a lady, and I decided to have her in my team. Say, build a team. One of the problems entrepreneurs have in Nigeria is the fact that it's about me. I. So and sons. So or Lasco. They'll put their names as, listen, do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm speaking metaphorically now. You have to build a team. You can't do it by yourself. You have to collaborate. You do this on your own, it ain't going to be big. That's the truth, because you are not an island. And so I saw this girl, a 55-year-old woman, but she is as strong and as smart as can be. I said, I want you in my corner. Bam. And by the way, if anybody knows me, I don't hire small, I hire big. I don't hire people I'm smarter than. And I think I'm pretty smart. The typical CEO in Nigeria, they like to hire people that they can disseminate instructions to. You stay there. Who do you think owns this firm? That one is nonsense. So you will own it, forever owning it, but you will not grow. I hire people that are smarter than me so that they can talk to me. I hire people that are smarter than me so that I can learn from them. We are working together. And so if I'm hiring people that are smarter, I don't talk to people anyhow. I don't talk to my team anyhow. Because every one of them is the CEO or a madam of their own. I'm not saying I pay the most money, but I hire people that are better than me. And so I sought after this woman. And here's another thing. I'm not afraid to pay people more than me. If you're somebody smarter than you, shouldn't they be more compensated than you are? I hired a fox of a project manager. My goodness. When this lady started to find us deals, are you kidding me? I'll tell you the recent acquisition we did, and I'm rounding off now. Listen, I told her to find me a house. I was looking to buy a house. And that I'd have some investors' money and I was going to get some lending and so on. And she took me to a subdivision in one of the best areas. I'm talking about like something like VI. When we were walking up and down, I said, so how much are these units? Oh, she said, they're going for about 1.5 million. I nearly tripped on the staircase. I said, in my head, I said, $1.5 million. Where am I going to get that one from? But you know me, that's another thing. You have to train your mind never to be negative. You have to train. Listen, there are two types of people. Some people, they see obstacles. Some of us, we see opportunities. There's nothing, if you want, like bring $1 billion transaction to me, I find ways of breaking it down. I don't see obstacles. If I can overcome 495 rejections, trust me, so I smiled. I said, well, how do we raise this? And then we started to talk. And we got to a gridlock because there was just no way I could raise that money. And I was showering. I was just thinking about the transaction. And I heard that voice. Why don't you collaborate with the previous owner of this transaction? So I went back to that lady. I said, there must be a way we can collaborate. And she's like, oh, no. Those people are selfish. They're stingy. They don't want us to do blah, blah. I said, are you sure? I said, because, anyway, I kept thinking. And all of a sudden, she said, you know what? Mo, I have a brilliant idea. And we went back to the drawing board. And back and forth, and we found a way of collaborating, acquire the property, and trust me, my investors are happy. Here's the thing. Don't look at me like, oh, she's talking about foreigners, oh, talking about dollars and pounds. That is irrelevant. By the way, the money is not even mine. I'm humble enough to tell you. It ain't mine. I wish it was. What is your sphere of influence? What is your sphere of who are your friends? Who are your associates? What is it you're doing? Whether you're a fashion designer, you can be the best goddamn fashion designer there is. Forget my French. You can be the best you are. All you have to know is believe yourself and be relevant. Study hard. Don't do things that are easy. A lot of us were sucked into things that are easy. Instagram, pam, pam. By the way, I will encourage you to go on Instagram. Gosh, I will even encourage you to go to on Facebook. Because when you are seeing Instagram and Facebook, you know what some of us are? We are seeing numbers. I'm seeing Facebook was listed on the New York Stock Exchange in May 2012 at $38. Currently now, Facebook is trading $207. By the way, it's gone up in the last year 60%. Of course, I want to buy Facebook shares. So I will encourage you to keep. But by the way, I've not gone to that thing in a long time. So some people are seeing things from the front. We are looking behind. We are the behind the scene people making things happen. So be careful about all the superficialness. Be relevant. Be hungry. And lastly, I'm going to round up with being focused. What is your focus? Because you become what you look at. You become your reflection. If your associates are not doing any good, please change them. There's nothing wrong with that. You can't, let me tell you, the top is not crowded. Only the bottom is. If you must go to the top, you might have to fly alone. What is your focus? Let me just do a quick, can I have 3 volunteers? The ladies at the desk, please quickly come. I'm running up now. I know our time is fast spent. I like to use this analogy. And trust me, this is somebody, I'm a seasoned prayer warrior. I'm telling you, I pray hours a day. No, stay here. You can all see them, right? Okay, so you are in the middle, okay. So, all right. So, pretend this lady represents wealth. Say wealth. Pretend this lady represents poverty. So, this lady in the middle, now face poverty and start binding poverty. No. Listen, I didn't say you should do it like Baptist. You do it like MFM. You do it like the CSC people. Oh, yeah. I start bind and cast. You don't know how they do. They stand there. Oh, yeah, back. Oh, yeah, bind poverty. Hurry up, but time is fast spent. Who can do it? Please, come. Oh, yeah, swap. I need somebody. I think, don't be comfortable with poverty. Oh. Thank you, Dari. Do you like poverty? Are you comfortable with poverty? I need someone that you're ready to destroy poverty in your life. Oh, yeah, buying for poverty. Thank you. Please give her. Thank you. Ha! You have been going to MFM. I see you in CSC. I'm going to ask you a question. What out of these two, who do you really want? Who are you facing? Who are you backing? Thank you very much. Please take a seat. A lot of us are focusing on our deficiencies and not our strengths. You know you don't want those kind of weaknesses, but yes, that is your focus. So ask your neighbor, what is your focus? And I'm going to round up with a story I love to say anytime I get the opportunity to speak. And it's the story of the horse and the goose. The goose walks up to the horse and says to the horse, be careful of people that are ready to point out your deficiencies. Remember this. You are not defined by people's opinions. Say that. You are not defined by people's opinions. So the goose walks up to the horse and says, horse, you are just a quadruped. The only thing you can do is run on land. But me, I can swim, I can fly, and I can do what you do. I can run on land. And the horse looks at the goose and says, very well, goose. You say you swim, but you cannot glide like the dolphin. You say you fly, but you cannot soar like the eagle. And you say you run, but what you really do is waddle. But me, how flawless my hair, how majestic my frame, how strong are my loins. I have carried kings and queens. People pay to see me display. I'm a symbol of national strength and dignity. Hey, machineries are measured by my horsepower. So I might just be good at one thing, but I'd rather be a horse at it than be a goose of all. Thank you very much.